Imagine standing before a canvas where nothing is literal and yet everything is true, where color replaces language, shape becomes emotion, and chaos reveals a deeper order hidden beneath the surface of ordinary life. This is the world of modern abstract art, a realm where the artist does not merely paint what the eye can see, but instead captures what the soul can feel, transforming reality into rhythm, movement, tension, and harmony. Welcome to a vision of reality unlike the familiar landscapes and portraits of traditional art, because modern abstract art is not about copying the visible world, but about revealing the invisible essence beneath it. It asks us to move beyond the expectation of recognizable objects and to enter a space where emotion, memory, and perception become the true subjects of the artwork. In this space, a single bold stroke of crimson can speak of passion more powerfully than the image of a human face, and fractured geometric forms can express the complexity of urban existence more vividly than a detailed cityscape. Modern abstract art is the language of inner reality, the visual echo of thought and feeling, and its greatest power lies in its refusal to explain itself in literal terms. Instead, it invites us to experience rather than simply observe. In the modern world, reality is no longer perceived as fixed or singular. We live in overlapping dimensions of emotion, technology, memory, and sensory overload, where the boundaries between what is external and internal constantly blur. Abstract art reflects this fragmented and fluid reality with remarkable honesty. It mirrors the speed of contemporary life, the collision of ideas, the uncertainty of identity, and the beauty that emerges from imperfection. Where realism gives us the surface of the world, abstraction gives us its pulse. The abstract artist becomes less a recorder of appearances and more an interpreter of energies, translating the complexity of existence into visual form. A jagged line may represent conflict, a translucent layer may suggest memory, and a violent contrast between dark and light may embody the tension between despair and hope. In this way, abstract art becomes one of the most authentic representations of modern life because life itself is abstract and experienced long before it becomes concrete in form. Consider how human emotion rarely arrives in neat, recognizable shapes. Anxiety does not look like a chair or a mountain. Joy does not resemble a building or a tree. Instead, feelings arrive as sensations, waves, vibrations, tensions, releases. Modern abstract art embraces this truth. It gives form to the formless and color to the invisible. Through abstraction, the artist communicates on a level deeper than narrative, bypassing the intellect to reach the emotional core of the viewer. This is why abstract paintings often provoke such personal and varied responses. One viewer may see liberation in a sweeping blue curve, while another may feel solitude. Both are correct, because abstract art does not dictate meaning. It creates space for meaning to emerge. In a world saturated with images that tell us exactly what to think and feel, abstract art offers freedom. It asks us to participate, to interpret, to bring our own experiences into the act of seeing. This participation transforms the viewer from a passive observer into an active co-creator of meaning. That is the radical beauty of abstract art. Its reality is not imposed, but discovered. Modern abstract art also reflects the fractured nature of contemporary existence. Our lives are built from fragments, memories, digital interactions, fleeting impressions, layered identities. Rarely do we experience reality as a coherent, linear story. Instead, we navigate a mosaic of emotions, obligations, and sensations. Abstract art captures this fragmentation through broken forms, overlapping layers, and dynamic compositions that resist a single fixed perspective. These visual disruptions are not accidents. They are reflections of how reality feels in the modern age. The shattered planes of abstract compositions mirror the multiplicity of perspectives that define our world, where truth is often subjective and experience is deeply personal. In this sense, abstract art is not an escape from reality but an honest confrontation with it. It acknowledges that modern life is messy, unstable, and unresolved, and it finds beauty within that instability. This beauty does not arise from perfection but from authenticity, from the courage to reveal tension, contradiction, and uncertainty without forcing them into familiar forms. The modern abstract artist embraces ambiguity as truth, understanding that reality itself is layered, elusive, and constantly changing. There is also something profoundly spiritual about abstract art's vision of reality. By stripping away literal representation, it reaches for universal forces that lie beneath appearances: movement, balance, chaos, transcendence. A field of luminous color can evoke vastness, stillness, or infinity in ways that no detailed depiction ever could. This is because abstraction speaks in archetypes rather than objects, touching something primal in the human psyche. The viewer may not be able to explain why a certain arrangement of colors feels expansive, or why a cluster of dark forms creates unease, but the emotional response is immediate and real. Abstract art reminds us that reality is not limited to what can be named or measured. There are truths of feeling, intuition, and presence that exist beyond words, and art has the power to reveal them. In this way, modern abstraction becomes a meditation on existence itself. It asks what reality truly is: the visible forms we recognize, or the invisible forces we experience within them. Perhaps reality is both, and abstraction gives voice to the half we often ignore. It reveals the emotional architecture beneath the physical world, the hidden currents beneath visible surfaces. Modern abstract art is also deeply connected to the idea of liberation. It rejects the demand that art must imitate nature or conform to traditional standards of beauty. Instead, it asserts that expression itself is valuable, that truth can be found in spontaneity, distortion, and experimentation. This freedom mirrors broader cultural shifts in modern society, where rigid structures are questioned and individual perspectives are increasingly valued. Abstract art becomes a declaration that reality is not one fixed image, but an evolving dialogue between perception and experience. It reminds us that what we see is shaped by how we feel, and that meaning is often created in the act of interpretation. In the hands of a modern artist, the canvas becomes a site of exploration where emotion, thought, and material interact in unpredictable ways. Paint drips, textures collide, colors bleed into one another, and the resulting composition captures the vitality of lived experience. This vitality is the essence of abstract art's realism, not realism of appearance, but realism of sensation. It reveals what life feels like rather than what life looks like. This distinction is essential because the deepest truths of human existence are often emotional rather than visual. Love, fear, longing, alienation, ecstasy. These are realities as significant as any physical object, and abstract art gives them form. It validates inner experience as a legitimate subject of artistic truth. In doing so, it expands our understanding of reality itself. We begin to see that reality is not merely the external world, but also the internal landscapes we inhabit. The abstract canvas becomes a mirror not of appearances, but of consciousness. It reflects the energies, contradictions, and possibilities that define our existence. This is why modern abstract art feels so alive. It is not frozen in the static imitation of the visible world. It pulses with emotion, movement, and ambiguity. It breathes because it is rooted in lived experience rather than visual certainty. And in its openness, it creates a space where the viewer can encounter their own perceptions in a new way. Standing before an abstract work, we are invited to slow down, to feel, to notice how meaning arises within us. This experience is transformative because it reveals that perception itself is creative. We do not simply receive reality, we shape it through attention, memory, and emotion. Abstract art makes this process visible. It shows that seeing is never neutral, that every act of perception is an act of interpretation. In revealing this, abstract art becomes a profound commentary on the nature of reality. It suggests that reality is not a fixed object waiting to be observed, but a dynamic relationship between the world and the consciousness perceiving it. This idea is at the heart of modern abstract art's enduring relevance. In an era defined by complexity, uncertainty, and rapid change, abstraction offers a language capable of holding contradiction without resolving it. It allows chaos and beauty to coexist, just as they do in life. It honors the fragmented, emotional, and subjective dimensions of reality that traditional representation often leaves behind. And through this honesty, it offers a deeper kind of truth. Modern abstract art teaches us that reality is not always clear, not always orderly, and not always visible, yet it is meaningful nonetheless. It invites us to trust intuition, to embrace ambiguity, and to find significance in the spaces between certainty and mystery. Ultimately, the vision of reality offered by modern abstract art is one of depth, freedom, and transformation. It reveals that beneath the familiar surfaces of the world lies a vast terrain of emotion, perception, and possibility. It shows that reality is not merely what is seen, but what is sensed, remembered, and imagined. Through abstraction, the artist gives shape to the invisible dimensions of existence, offering us not a mirror of the external world, but a gateway into its hidden truths. In the bold collision of colors, in the tension of fractured forms, in the silence between gestures, we encounter the living pulse of reality in its most intimate and expansive form. Modern abstract art does not ask us to recognize objects. It asks us to recognize ourselves, our emotions, our perceptions, our inner worlds reflected in the language of form and color. And in that recognition, we discover that reality is far richer, more fluid, and more mysterious than appearances alone could ever reveal. That is the extraordinary power of modern abstract art. It turns the canvas into a living vision of reality, one that does not imitate the world but unveils its deepest essence, reminding us that truth is not always found in what is visible, but often in what is felt.